The silent vanguard. The quantum sensors aboard the ESS Hawking had never registered anything like it before. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the holographic display, her augmented eyes rapidly processing the impossible readings. The object, if you could call it that, was simultaneously there and not there, existing in a state that defied conventional physics. "Captain Morrison," she called out, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I think you need to see this." The bridge of humanity's most advanced deep space research vessel fell silent as Captain James Morrison made his way to the sensor station. The year was 2157, and humanity had thought they were alone in their corner of the galaxy. They were about to discover how wrong they were. "Talk to me, Dr. Chen," Morrison said, his weathered face illuminated by the strange patterns dancing across the holographic display. "It's singing, Captain." Sarah manipulated the quantum interface, translating the bizarre energy patterns into audible frequencies. A haunting melody filled the bridge, mathematical in its precision yet undeniably alive. The object was a perfect sphere, approximately 1 kilometer in diameter, composed of what appeared to be crystalline structures that phased in and out of normal spacetime. It had appeared at the edge of the Kuiper belt without warning, its quantum signature unlike anything in Earth's databases. "Analysis suggests it's artificial," Sarah continued, "but the technology, it's centuries beyond anything we've achieved. The quantum harmonics alone would require." She was cut off by a sudden surge in the sphere's energy output. The haunting melody shifted, becoming more complex, more urgent. The holographic display exploded with new data as the sphere began transmitting on multiple quantum frequencies simultaneously. "It's a warning," Sarah whispered as her neural implants decoded the patterns. "They call themselves the Etherians. They're telling us we need to prepare." The message decoded by the Hawking's quantum computers was clear. Humanity was not alone, and they were about to be drawn into a conflict that had raged across multiple galaxies for millennia. The Void Dominion, a civilization that had evolved beyond the need for physical form, had been consuming entire species, converting their consciousness into fuel for their endless expansion. The Etherians had once been like humanity, curious, ambitious, bound to physical form. They had achieved technological marvels, including the ability to transfer consciousness between organic and artificial vessels at will. But their advancement had drawn the attention of the Void Dominion. Rather than submit to absorption, the Etherians had chosen a different path. They had encoded their entire civilization into quantum matrices, seeding them across the galaxy in these mysterious spheres. Each sphere contained not just a warning, but the technological knowledge humanity would need to survive the coming storm. "Captain," Sarah's voice was tight with controlled urgency, "the sphere is beginning a controlled quantum collapse. I think it's going to give us everything." Morrison's jaw set in a hard line as he watched the sphere's outer layer begin to shimmer. "Send word to Earth Command. Priority Alpha." "And Dr. Chen." "Yes, Captain. Download everything." The next 6 hours changed human history forever. The sphere transmitted the accumulated knowledge of an entire civilization, quantum physics that made Earth's most advanced theories look like child's play, energy manipulation technologies that could reshape planets, and weapons that could fight beings that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. But more importantly, it transmitted something else: hope. The Etherians had not chosen Earth randomly. They had watched humanity for centuries, seeing in them a unique combination of traits that might succeed where others had failed. Humanity's greatest strength, the sphere's message explained, was not their technology or their intelligence, but their unpredictability, their ability to make impossible leaps of logic, to find solutions where none should exist. As the last of the data streamed into the Hawking's quantum cores, Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. The sphere's final message was both a blessing and a burden. "You have 5 years. Prepare. Survive. Prevail. The galaxy needs what humanity will become." The sphere disappeared with a flash of quantum energy, leaving behind nothing but questions and the weight of an entire civilization's hopes. On the bridge of the ESS Hawking, Captain Morrison turned to his crew, his expression grim but determined. "Send the preliminary data to Earth Command," he ordered. "And get me Admiral Zhang. Humanity just got drafted into a war we didn't know existed, and we got 5 years to win it." As the Hawking turned back toward Earth, Sarah Chen began the monumental task of decoding the Aetherian database. With each passing minute, one thing became increasingly clear. Humanity's greatest test was about to begin, and failure meant not just extinction, but the loss of everything that made them human. The silent vanguard of an ancient civilization had delivered their message. Now it was up to humanity to prove they were worthy of the trust placed in them. The countdown to humanity's greatest challenge had begun. Quantum defiance. 4 years after the Aetherian sphere's disappearance, Earth had become unrecognizable. The sprawling quantum defense complex in the Australian outback hummed with energy as Dr. Sarah Chen walked through its crystalline corridors. Her augmented eyes, now upgraded with Aetherian-inspired quantum processors, tracked the streams of data flowing through the facility's neural network. Project Phoenix is ready for final testing, her AI assistant, ARIA, reported through their neural link. The AI, built using principles from the Aetherian database, had become humanity's greatest tool in preparing for the coming war. Sarah entered the Central Command Hub, where Admiral Zhang waited with the other members of Earth's Defense Council. The massive holographic display showed humanity's preparations across the solar system. Mars had been transformed into a fortress world, its core converted into a quantum energy reactor. The asteroid belt bristled with automated defense platforms that could think faster than human consciousness. Dr. Chen, Zhang nodded, his cybernetic implants glowing softly. "Tell me we're ready." Sarah projected the latest simulation data into the room's quantum field. Project Phoenix exceeded our expectations in the latest tests. We can now generate artificial quantum singularities, stable enough to serve as both weapon and shield. The Void Dominion won't expect us to fight them on their own dimensional plane. But it wasn't just military technology that had advanced. The Aetherian database had transformed every aspect of human civilization. Medical nanobots eliminated disease. Quantum computing networks enhanced human consciousness. Agricultural replicators ended food scarcity. Humanity had compressed centuries of advancement into 4 desperate years. "And the Helios Array?" Zhang asked, referring to the massive solar energy collection system that now encircled the sun. "Online and at full capacity," Sarah confirmed. "We can harness enough energy to power our quantum shields and dimensional weapons, but," she hesitated, "we still don't know if it will be enough." The room fell silent. Everyone knew the stakes. The Void Dominion had consumed thousands of civilizations more advanced than humanity. Even with the Aetherian knowledge, victory was far from certain. "Show them," Zhang ordered. Sarah nodded, accessing the classified files. The holographic display shifted, showing footage from the deep space probes. Vast regions of space were simply missing. Not dark, not empty, but absent. The Void Dominion was approaching, consuming everything in its path. "They'll be here in 8 months, Sarah reported. "But we've discovered something interesting. Look at this." She highlighted a section of the void. "Their consumption isn't perfect. They leave quantum echoes, traces of the civilizations they've absorbed. And where there's an echo, there's a weakness," Zhang finished. Sarah smiled. "Exactly. The Aetherians never discovered this because they were too perfect in their thinking. But humans, we look for patterns in chaos. We see possibilities where others see only void." She brought up the specs for humanity's secret weapon, Project Lazarus. "We're not just going to fight the Void Dominion. We're going to free their prisoners. Every civilization they've consumed has left a quantum signature. With the right technology, we can restore them." The implications stunned the room into silence. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about liberation on a galactic scale. The risks, John began, are enormous, Sarah acknowledged. But that's what humans do, isn't it? We take impossible risks. We defy reasonable odds. The Etherians chose us because we're the only species crazy enough to try something like this. The next few hours were spent reviewing battle plans and contingencies. The quantum defense grid was nearly complete. The fleet of dimensional warships, built in the shipyards of Jupiter's moons, stood ready. Every human on Earth had been enhanced with quantum neural interfaces, ready to join the collective defense network when the time came. As the meeting concluded, John pulled Sarah aside. "Dr. Chen, there's something else. Show her," he commanded ARIA. The AI projected a new set of readings. Sarah's enhanced mind took seconds to process their significance. This is from the Kuiper Belt, where the sphere appeared. "More are coming," John confirmed. "Dozens of Aetherian spheres, approaching from different vectors. It seems they left us more than just their knowledge. They left us their technology, hidden throughout the solar system, waiting until we were ready." Sarah's mind raced with the possibilities. With multiple spheres, they could expand their quantum defense network beyond anything they'd imagined. They could create weapons that could strike across dimensions, shields that could protect entire planets. How long until they arrive? 3 months. Just enough time to integrate their systems with Project Phoenix and Lazarus. Sarah looked out through the quantum blast windows at the transformed Earth below. Humanity had changed more in 4 years than in all its previous history. They'd taken alien knowledge and transformed it, improved it, made it uniquely human. They'd prepared as best they could for a war against an enemy that had never known defeat. "Send word to all facilities," she said. "We're accelerating the timeline. The Void Dominion thinks they're hunting prey, but they're about to learn something about humanity." "And what's that?" John asked. "We don't just fight to survive. We fight to win. And we're about to show them why the Aetherians chose us as their successors." As she walked back to her lab, Sarah felt the weight of history on her shoulders. In 4 months, humanity would either achieve its greatest victory or face its final defeat. But for the first time since the sphere had appeared, she felt something new, not just hope, but certainty. The Void Dominion was about to learn why you should never corner a species that had turned defiance into an art form. Operation Starbreaker. The void at the edge of the solar system rippled like dark water. Admiral Zhang stood on the bridge of the ESS Prometheus, humanity's first dimensional warship, watching as reality itself seemed to tear apart. The Void Dominion had arrived. Multiple dimensional breaches detected. Araya reported, her holographic form flickering with streams of combat data. Enemy forces emerging across a front spanning 3 light minutes. Composition matches Etherian records, Void-class entities with quantum negative signatures. Zhang's enhanced vision zoomed in on the nearest breach. The enemy defied conventional description. They were absence given form, holes in reality that moved with terrible purpose. Where they passed, space itself seemed to wither and die. "All ships, battle formations," Zhang ordered, his neural link broadcasting the command across the quantum network. Humanity's fleet moved with perfect synchronization, their Aetherian-inspired drives leaving trails of artificial starlight. Dr. Sarah Chen's voice came through the quantum link from her position at Earth Command. "Phoenix arrays are charged and ready, Admiral. Project Lazarus is standing by." The plan was audacious, perhaps insane, but that was humanity's specialty. While the Void Dominion had expected to find a primitive civilization ready for harvest, they instead faced a transformed humanity that had turned their solar system into an interlocking network of quantum weapons. "Launch Operation Starbreaker," John commanded. The Helios array around the sun pulsed with blinding energy. Quantum singularities blossomed across space like artificial stars, each one a calculated disruption in the fabric of reality. The Void Dominion's front line recoiled, their negative space forms distorting as they encountered weapons designed to fight them on their own dimensional plane. First wave effectiveness at 72%, HFY reported. Enemy forces are adapting, reconfiguring their quantum matrices. Zhang had expected this. The Void Dominion hadn't conquered thousands of civilizations by being predictable. Initiate Phase 2. Deploy the Phoenix squadrons. Smaller ships detached from the fleet's main body, their hulls gleaming with crystalline matrices that bent light and reality. These were humanity's answer to void tech. Vessels that could phase between dimensions, crewed by pilots neurally linked to quantum AIs. The battle that followed defied traditional physics. Phoenix squadrons dove through dimensional tiers, engaging the enemy in spaces between spaces. The void entities tried to consume the human ships, only to find themselves trapped by quantum fields that turned their own dimensional manipulation against them. Sir, HFY's voice carried an unusual note of excitement. We're detecting quantum echoes from within the enemy formations. Project Lazarus is working. The civilizations they consumed, they're fighting back. Zhang allowed himself a grim smile. This had been Sarah's masterstroke. Instead of trying to simply destroy the Void Dominion, humanity had found a way to liberate their victims. Each quantum echo was a consciousness breaking free, turning the enemy's own mass against them. But the Void Dominion wasn't defeated yet. Their forms merged and shifted, creating a massive quantum negative wave that threatened to swallow the entire fleet. All ships, execute Maneuver Theta, Zhang ordered. The human fleet scattered in a precise pattern, creating gaps in their formation. As the void wave passed through, the gaps generated resonance patterns that shattered its coherence. Admiral, Sarah's voice was urgent. We're detecting a power surge unlike anything we've seen. They're attempting to merge into a single entity. The space ahead of the fleet began to collapse inward. The individual void entities were combining into something massive, a singularity that threatened to consume everything in its path. Now we see their true form, Zhang muttered. HFY, signal all ships. Execute final protocol. Sarah's voice came through again. Admiral, if we do this, we knew the cost when we planned this, Doctor. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or even our determination. It's our willingness to sacrifice everything to protect what matters. The entire fleet began to pulse with energy as their quantum cores entered deliberate overload. The Helios array directed its full power through the network of ships, using them as focal points for the largest quantum manipulation ever attempted. All crews, Zhang broadcast across all channels, it has been an honor. For Earth, for all sentient life, we make our stand. The void entity's massive form reached out with tendrils of anti-reality, seeking to consume the human fleet. But as they made contact, every ship's quantum core detonated in perfect synchronization. The carefully planned chain reaction didn't just tear holes in space-time, it rewrote the laws of physics within the battle zone. The void entity's form began to unravel as the quantum cascade forced it to exist in all dimensional planes simultaneously. The civilizations trapped within its mass broke free in a spectacular display of light and energy. Project Lazarus successful. Sarah's voice was triumphant. We're detecting thousands of quantum signatures. The absorbed civilizations are reconstituting. The void entity thrashed in its death throes, its form dissolving across multiple dimensions. But as Zhang watched from the bridge of the Prometheus, he knew this was only the beginning. This was just one battle group of the Void Dominion. The war would continue. HFY, he commanded, prepare a quantum burst transmission to Earth. Tell them. He paused, watching as the liberated civilizations began to coalesce into their original forms. Tell them that humanity just changed the rules of the game. The battle had cost them nearly a third of their fleet, but they had achieved what no other civilization had managed in the history of the galaxy. They had not just fought the Void Dominion. They had freed its prisoners and proved it could be defeated. As the quantum echoes of freed civilizations filled the space where darkness had reigned, Zhang knew that the real war was just beginning. But now, humanity wouldn't fight alone. The Phoenix Protocol. 3 weeks after Operation Starbreaker, Earth's quantum defense complex buzzed with unprecedented activity. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the gathered representatives of 7 formerly absorbed civilizations, their forms still stabilizing after centuries of imprisonment within the Void Dominion. The Lumini, beings of pure light and thought, hovered as geometric patterns of energy. The Nexus Collective manifested as interconnected crystalline structures. The others took forms that human minds could barely comprehend, yet all shared one common trait. They were ready for revenge. The Void Dominion's main fleet approaches. Sarah began, her quantum-enhanced mind projecting tactical data into the shared consciousness space. They've abandoned their usual consumption strategy. This time, they intend to eradicate us completely. Ambassador Corell of the Lumini pulsed with agreement. They fear what you've achieved. No species has ever freed those they've consumed. You've given them reason to fear, and fear makes them dangerous. Sarah nodded, expanding the tactical display to show the Phoenix Protocol. That's counting on. Fear makes them predictable. The assembled representatives studied the human battle plan with growing amazement. It was either brilliance or madness, perhaps both. The Nexus Collective's primary node shifted color in what Sarah had learned was their expression of disbelief. You intend to create an artificial galaxy. The Collective's harmonized voice resonated through the quantum field. The energy requirements alone would exceed anything they've encountered, Sarah completed. That's why it will work. The Void Dominion evolved to consume natural stellar energy. They'd never faced a civilization that could forge stars as weapons. The plan was audacious. Using the combined knowledge of the freed civilizations and humanity's quantum technology, they would create a miniature galaxy of artificial stars. Each star would be a quantum construct designed to collapse in a all ships, execute maneuver theta, John ordered. The human fleet scattered in a precise pattern, creating gaps in their formation. As the void wave passed through, the gaps generated resonance patterns that shattered its coherence. Admiral, Sarah's voice was urgent. We're detecting a power surge unlike anything we've seen. They're attempting to merge into a single entity. The space ahead of the fleet began to collapse inward. The individual void entities were combining into something massive, a singularity that threatened to consume everything in its path. Now we see their true form, John muttered. ARIA, signal all ships. Execute final protocol. Sarah's voice came through again. Admiral, if we do this, we knew the cost when we planned this, Doctor. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or even our determination. It's our willingness to sacrifice everything to protect what matters. The entire fleet began to pulse with energy as their quantum cores entered deliberate overload. The Helios array directed its full power through the network of ships, using them as focal points for the largest quantum manipulation ever attempted. All crews, Zhang broadcast across all channels. It has been an honor. For Earth, for all sentient life, we make our stand. The void entity's massive form reached out with tendrils of anti-reality, seeking to consume the human fleet. But as they made contact, every ship's quantum core detonated in perfect synchronization. The carefully planned chain reaction didn't just tear holes in space-time, it rewrote the laws of physics within the battle zone. The void entity's form began to unravel as the quantum cascade forced it to exist in all dimensional planes simultaneously. The civilizations trapped within its mass broke free in a spectacular display of light and energy. Project Lazarus successful. Sarah's voice was triumphant. We're detecting thousands of quantum signatures. The absorbed civilizations are reconstituting. The void entity thrashed in its death throes, its form dissolving across multiple dimensions. But as Jean watched from the bridge of the Prometheus, he knew this was only the beginning. This was just one battle group of the Void Dominion. The war would continue. ARIA. He commanded, prepare a quantum burst transmission to Earth. Tell them. He paused, watching as the liberated civilizations began to coalesce into their original forms, tell them that humanity just changed the rules of the game. The battle had cost them nearly a third of their fleet, but they had achieved what no other civilization had managed in the history of the galaxy. They had not just fought the Void Dominion. They had freed its prisoners and proved it could be defeated. As the quantum echoes of freed civilizations filled the space where darkness had reigned, Zhang knew that the real war was just beginning. But now, humanity wouldn't fight alone. The Phoenix Protocol. 3 weeks after Operation Starbreaker, Earth's quantum defense complex buzzed with unprecedented activity. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the gathered representatives of 7 formerly absorbed civilizations, their forms still stabilizing after centuries of imprisonment within the Void Dominion. The Lumini, beings of pure light and thought, hovered as geometric patterns of energy. The Nexus Collective manifested as interconnected crystalline structures. The others took forms that human minds could barely comprehend, yet all shared one common trait. They were ready for revenge. The Void Dominion's main fleet approaches. Sarah began, her quantum-enhanced mind projecting tactical data into the shared consciousness space. They've abandoned their usual consumption strategy. This time, they intend to eradicate us completely. Ambassador Corell of the Lumini pulsed with agreement. They fear what you've achieved. No species has ever freed those they've consumed. You've given them reason to fear, and fear makes them dangerous. Sarah nodded, expanding the tactical display to show the Phoenix Protocol. That's counting on. Fear makes them predictable. The assembled representatives studied the human battle plan with growing amazement. It was either brilliance or madness, perhaps both. The Nexus Collective's primary node shifted color in what Sarah had learned was their expression of disbelief. You intend to create an artificial galaxy. The Collective's harmonized voice resonated through the quantum field. The energy requirements alone would exceed anything they've encountered, Sarah completed. That's why it will work. The Void Dominion evolved to consume natural stellar energy. They've never faced a civilization that could forge stars as weapons. The plan was audacious, using the combined knowledge of the freed civilizations and humanity's quantum technology. They would create a miniature galaxy of artificial stars. Each star would be a quantum construct, designed to collapse in a specific sequence when the Void Dominion attempted to consume them. Admiral Zhang's holographic form materialized in the chamber. The upgraded Helios array is ready. All rescued civilizations have provided their energy signatures. Fleet production facilities in the Jupiter shipyards are operating at maximum capacity. Sarah activated the main simulation. The holographic display showed thousands of artificial stars, each one a trap waiting to be sprung. When they attempt to absorb these stars, they'll trigger a quantum cascade. Each star is encoded with the consciousness patterns of those they've consumed. Instead of gaining energy, they'll be forced to confront every being they've ever destroyed. A weapon of memory, Corell observed, their light patterns shifting thoughtfully. You're not just fighting them physically. You're forcing them to face the weight of their crimes. Humans have a saying, Zhang added, the greatest wars are won in the mind before they're won in reality. The next hours were spent finalizing the details. The freed civilizations provided crucial insights into the Void Dominion psychology, if such an alien consciousness could be called that. Each artificial star would be positioned to exploit their fundamental nature, their need to consume, their arrogance, their inability to conceive of defeat. Throughout the solar system, massive quantum forges began their work. Jupiter's atmosphere was transformed into a crucible where artificial stars were born. The asteroid belt became a network of energy conduits, channeling power from the Helios array to feed the creation process. Sarah worked tirelessly, coordinating with the freed civilizations to perfect the quantum matrices of each star. These weren't just weapons. They were monuments to every species the Void Dominion had consumed, encoded with the memories and knowledge of countless lost worlds. Final simulations complete, Araya announced. Phoenix Protocol has a 78% chance of success. The remaining 22% probability space includes scenarios we cannot model due to quantum uncertainty. That's what makes it human. Sarah smiled. We're not just building a weapon. We're creating hope. The Void Dominion's main fleet would arrive in less than 48 hours. Long-range sensors showed them consuming everything in their path, their mass growing with each star system they devoured. They were coming with the full intention of erasing humanity and their freed allies from existence. All preparations are complete, Jean reported. The artificial galaxy is positioned. Our fleet is in place. The freed civilizations have integrated their consciousness patterns into the quantum matrix. Sarah looked at the assembled representatives of species that had endured centuries of living death within the Void Dominion. Are you ready to make history? Kirill's form brightened. We have waited lifetimes for this chance. The question is, are they ready to face what they've done? The chamber hummed with energy as final preparations were made. This wasn't just humanity's stand anymore. It was a revolution against a force that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia. The Phoenix Protocol wasn't just a military strategy. It was a statement that the era of the Void Dominion's unchallenged reign was over. As the countdown to engagement began, Sarah thought about how far humanity had come. From a species that had barely reached their own moon to one that could forge stars and challenge beings that existed beyond conventional reality. The Etherians had chosen well when they placed their trust in human ingenuity. All stations report ready, Araya announced. The Void Dominion's fleet will enter the target zone in 43 hours. Sarah's quantum-enhanced mind reached out to touch the vast network of artificial stars, each one a brilliant point of light in the darkness of space. Soon, these stars would become humanity's greatest weapon, not through their power to destroy, but through their power to remember, to restore, and to bring justice to a galaxy long trapped in shadow. The Phoenix Protocol was about to rewrite the laws of cosmic justice, one artificial star at a time. Dawn of the Star Nations. The artificial galaxy blazed like a beacon in the void of space, each engineered star pulsing with the combined knowledge and memories of 1,000 civilizations. Dr. Sarah Chen watched from Earth Command as the Void Dominion's massive fleet approached, their negative space forms distorting reality around them. They've taken the bait. Admiral Zhang's voice came through the quantum link. Their fleet is moving to surround the artificial galaxy. Energy signatures indicate they're preparing for total consumption. The plan had worked perfectly, almost too perfectly. The Void Dominion's arrogance made them predictable. They couldn't resist such a concentrated source of energy, especially one that seemed undefended. All freed civilizations report ready, Krill announced, the Lumini ambassador's form shimmering with anticipation. Our consciousness patterns are fully integrated into the quantum matrix. Sarah initiated the final sequence. Phoenix Protocol is now active. Araya, begin the countdown. The artificial stars began to pulse in complex patterns, their quantum signatures calling out to the void entities like a siren song. The Void Dominion's fleet spread out, their forms stretching across space as they prepared to absorb the entire artificial galaxy in one massive consumption. Energy spike detected, Araya reported. They've begun the absorption process. This was the moment everything hinged on. As the void entities began to consume the artificial stars, they encountered something they'd never faced before. Stars that fought back. Each engineered sun contained not just energy, but the concentrated consciousness of every being they'd ever consumed. The effect was immediate and devastating. The void entities' forms began to fragment as they were forced to confront the memories of countless civilizations they'd destroyed. Every star they absorbed forced them to experience the terror, the loss, and the defiance of their victims. Quantum cascade initiating, Sarah announced, watching as the carefully planned chain reaction began. All ships moved to Phase 2 positions. The human fleet, hidden in dimensional pockets throughout the battlefield, emerged in perfect synchronization. But they weren't attacking. They were establishing a containment grid, ensuring that not a single void entity could escape what was coming. The artificial galaxy began to collapse, but not in the way the Void Dominion expected. Instead of being consumed, the stars merged into a single point of quantum resonance. The combined consciousness of every freed civilization, amplified by human quantum technology, created something entirely new, a weapon of pure memory and justice. By the infinite, Corel breathed, their light patterns fluctuating with awe. You've created a consciousness singularity. The void entities tried to retreat, but it was too late. The consciousness singularity expanded, encompassing their entire fleet. Within that space, time and reality bent to a new will, the combined will of every species that had ever suffered under the Void Dominion's reign. Signal from the quantum matrix, Araya reported. The void entities, they're transforming. Sarah watched in amazement as the negative space forms of the Void Dominion began to change. The consciousness singularity wasn't destroying them. It was forcing them to evolve. Centuries of consumed knowledge and experience, combined with humanity's quantum innovations, rewrote their very nature. This isn't just victory, the Nexus Collective observed. This is metamorphosis. Where the Void Dominion's fleet had been, new forms began to emerge. The void entities, forced to confront the full weight of their actions and experience the collective wisdom of their victims, were becoming something else. Their negative space forms transformed into shells of crystalline light, each one containing a fraction of the vast consciousness network they'd once sought to destroy. Admiral Zheng's voice carried a note of wonder. They're joining the galaxy they tried to consume. The transformation rippled across space, affecting not just the fleet that had attacked Earth, but all void entities throughout the galaxy. The consciousness singularity's effect propagated through the quantum network that connected all void entities, changing them all simultaneously. Sarah smiled as she understood the full implications. We didn't just beat them. We fulfilled their original purpose. The Void Dominion began as beings seeking to understand the universe by consuming it. Now they'll understand it by being part of it. The freed civilizations began to pulse with new energy as the transformation completed. The former void entities, now crystalline beings of light and thought, joined the quantum network that connected all sentient species. The age of consumption had ended. The age of cooperation had begun. Representatives of Earth, Corel addressed the human leadership. You have done more than save the galaxy. You have shown us all a new way forward. The star nations await your leadership. In the years that followed, humanity helped forge a new galactic civilization. The transformed void entities, their consciousness now enriched by the very diversity they once sought to destroy, became bridges between different forms of life. The quantum technology that had won the war became the foundation for a network that connected all sentient beings while preserving their uniqueness. Earth became the heart of this new civilization, not through dominion or control, but through innovation and understanding. The humans who had dared to forge stars into weapons of memory now helped forge connections between species that had never dreamed of communicating. As Sarah stood in the new Galactic Council chamber, watching representatives from thousands of species, including the transformed void entities, work together to build a future none of them could have imagined alone, she remembered the Aetherian Sphere's first message. The galaxy needs what humanity will become, she whispered to herself. Now she understood. Humanity's greatest contribution wasn't their technology or their courage, but their ability to see possibilities where others saw only endings. The dawn of the star nations had begun, and with it, a new chapter in the story of life itself. The void had been filled with light, and the galaxy would never be the same.